nenge wathi naku. Wathi woke we muito naku. Hey.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Karanja. I'm your host, Karanja Mumo, and I'm so excited that we have yet another beautiful episode in what I like to say, a very colorful set today, which is exciting to me as we delve into great conversations around relationships. And let me tell you, one of the best parts about this particular show is that you too can get to be on the show anytime you feel like. All you have to do is send us an email to conversationswithkaranja@gmail.com. And in case you haven't caught up with the rest of our episodes, please do get onto YouTube and Spotify, Conversations with Karanja. Right there, you will be able to enjoy. And guess what? Recently, we also joined AfriPods, so you can check us out there. Now, today, we have a guest that has been happily married for 25 years, is a mother of 3, 2 of whom are young adults, and she has worked with higher education. She's been in student ministry, and above all, she's an author with an amazing book that I got my hands on, and I was like, you don't say. This is some conversation we need to be having. The title is Don't Marry a Poor Man. Her name is Christine Karaoke Mutua. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much, Karanja.
It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
And let me tell you, when I first got my hands on this book, I was like, don't marry a poor man. I was almost like, yes, I've been saying this for years. But you know, there's people in my audience right now who are saying, yes, 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 money, you need money. But is this poor of just money, or there are other types of poor that you're referring to?
Actually, your reaction is what I've discovered ever since this book came out.
Yeah.
I get what you'd call almost equal and opposite reactions. There are people who say, oh, yes, we need to talk about that. And the others who say, oh, no, how can you discourage men like that?
Yes.
So I've gotten those types of reactions.
Yeah.
And definitely the book is born out of what you see in society. There's some pressure about finances in relationships and in marriages.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go beyond that. I wanted to go beyond the typical financial poverty. In fact, the poverty I talk about is more than that. It is poverty that has to do with a mindset.
Okay.
Poverty that touches the heart, the mind,
Yes.
and the behavior.
And the behavior. So somebody can actually be poor in behavior,
Exactly.
poor in focus, because I even read about focus, and I'm like, okay, I got to meet your husband, Daniel. He's a really, really nice man. And in those conversations we had, and I was just listening to you guys talk about how you started. At some point, I mean, you in this book talk about his wisdom, his focus. Those are things that appealed to you. But wasn't survival an issue of concern? Because, you know, today, this economy alone, I'm a single woman and I struggle. So when I think about don't marry a poor man, I'm like, yeah, I need somebody who's able to match my level. And most times, yes, financial. But what is it about, let's say, wisdom that somebody should not be poor in?
Okay, so let me first of all say that when I was dating and getting married, I was not as wise I am today.
Oh, so this is also lessons learned.
Exactly. So this book is actually born out of experience for many years.
All right.
I mean, just being in my own marriage, observing other marriages, talking, having conversations with young people, my own children. So I need to give that disclaimer at the beginning because you might think maybe girls need to be all shaped up, looking for wisdom, focus, and all this.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
Okay.
Marriage is one of those things that you learn while on the job.
Right.
But I think what I essentially am saying is that there are certain things that are important, and this book is about provoking conversations about those kinds of things.
All right.
Things that I would call fundamental in life. Things that don't change irrespective of culture, time, place.
Okay.
Those are the things I want to engage in. Those are the things I've engaged in this book. And I want to provoke people to think about these things, to have conversations, to reflect. Because if we don't reflect on these kinds of things, wisdom, vision, those kinds of things, they somehow impact relationships.
How it goes.
Yes, and marriage in general.
Yeah.
So my desire is to provoke that kind of a conversation.
Me, I'm so provoked. Let me tell you, I am so provoked, especially when you talk about vision and its importance. It seems like, today a lot of guys sell you, and I guess it hasn't changed, but I feel like today there's a lot more of the moon and the stars because the financial element has been really prevalent, where you find even young men borrowing a friend's car, coming to pretend it's their car, borrowing an apartment, and selling this whole dream because it looks like girls want the money too. And so in that you find, where's your vision of telling me I may be walking now, but in X amount of years I'm going to drive? So how can we change that mindset? You've talked about the mindset. So what are some of the things you've learned that maybe we who are single, as both women and men, should be thinking about when we meet each other?
Okay, so first of all, as I have said, these things are fundamental in life, basically.
Right.
So the other thing I need to add is that when people meet, it's not like when you first meet, you will discover this guy has a good vision. Oh, no.
It doesn't come immediately.
The element of time is very important.
Okay.
The element of time. And it is in that, when you give yourself time, of course, I know that flies into the face.
Yeah.
For the current generation that you're living.
Like, what are you talking about?
Instant coffee, instant tea. You want to discover things now. Yes. But, for example, the issue of vision, there are certain things that are important in a vision.
Right.
Like, for example, if you want to know a guy has a good vision, where is his focus? When you focus on something, you're following it to its logical end.
Right.
A vision is like that. It follows something to its logical end. A vision also is all-consuming.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to know someone's vision, look at what they give their energies into.
So there's a way to know early on, because I find like, okay, in my own dating experience, I want to know things quickly. And I don't know. I mean, some say, okay, now, as you age, that becomes the priority because, you have no time. But I think I've been like that all my life, where I want to know very quickly, what is your next plan for the next 5 years? What is it? So there's certain things that I would be asking quickly, but half the guys would be like, oh my God, why are you asking such serious questions immediately? Is there a formula to know without being abrasive, as they like to call it?
I think also, for me, this is a challenge to our guys.
Okay.
And that's why the book is not
just
directed for women.
Okay.
It's good for men to know what women look out for.
Right.
Because nobody, even in normal life, nobody wants to follow anyone who doesn't have a vision.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, you don't have a plan. Where are you going?
You don't have a plan.
Okay.
Even when you go to school, I mean, there's a vision.
There's a timetable.
There's a timetable.
Course outline.
It's how life operates.
Right.
It's how life goes. I remember like when my husband, of course, the dating scene has changed.
Yes. From then and now.
There has been cultural changes, economic changes, I mean, all these kinds of things. But I remember he came and proposed to me, and he basically told me, I want you to be my wife. Straight on. And then I want our wedding to be in the next 2 years. As in...
He had already planned what he wants.
I mean, and for me, although I really waited, in terms of, there were other issues that came in, but it was good to see, he has some direction.
And he knows what he wants.
He knows what he wants.
Yeah.
I think in talking about this issue of vision, what I'm challenging people is think through what you want.
Yeah.
A vision takes our time. A vision helps us to align our values. A vision helps us to move on. Like if I would give a normal example, if you look at our country, for example, the freedom fighters, they had a vision.
Right.
that we want our country to be liberated.
Yeah.
So they poured their energies
into that,
their sacrifice into that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, in the whole area of relationships and marriage, let's focus on that. And guys need to have that just as well as the ladies as well, because it is when you come together that then you have a shared vision of where you want to go. But if someone doesn't have a vision, unfortunately, and it's exhibited in a number of ways. Like I've just given you an example. When someone says, I want to get married in the next
X amount of time.
Yes, that shows vision.
Shows you vision.
There are other ways. Do they exhibit some purpose in life? Or is their purpose just enjoyment? Enjoyment is not bad.
But not all the time.
Not all the time. So what I'm saying, there are indicators that can help you see this guy has a serious vision or he's just a dreamer. And you know, dreams are not bad. Everybody
has dreams.
Yeah. But you know, you cannot die for a dream. And many people don't pursue their dreams. In a vision, there are dreams.
Right.
It is when you pursue those dreams within that vision, and then you actualize something.
Okay.
And that's what I'm talking about.
And that's what you're talking about. But, you know, like I've heard you talk about the dreamer. And for me, I keep wondering about, there are men who will come and tell you, I want to get married. But that's because he, in his plan, it's time to get married. The who, the how is irrelevant.
Yes.
I want a wife.
Yes.
And so now he comes, he looks, wife. And he doesn't even take time to get to know her. It's because of his timeline. I know that also occurred a lot in, you know, my generation who are well off, married and all that. But today we also have guys who they've decided it's time, and they don't necessarily have a way of identifying, am I marrying right? I'm just marrying because it's time. So what would you say to that?
I think marriage is is something that we really need to think about. It's not your kind of, we meet today and tomorrow we're married. Yes. We have relationships in life. Marriage, at least as designed by God, is one of those that is supposed to be long-term. So in my opinion, and that's the other objective for this book, I am saying, can we take time to think through, to count the cost, to ask ourselves, okay, so what does marriage involve? Like, for example, you're planning a wedding.
Right.
Do you have the money?
You don't just wake up and say, and you know, lately, and I just say lately, every second WhatsApp group is we are changaing for our wedding. And you know,
exactly.
Me, in my generation and our generation, we didn't plan those things unless we had the money. It was very, if people wanted to help, they'll help, but you guys have to have a plan. You tell us you want to get married, and then you tell us you have 50,000, but you want a wedding of 600,000. It's your wedding. At least come up with half. But this generation isn't working like that. I don't know why.
And I think that's why, you know, for me, this book, it's designed as a conversation. You know, like the way we are talking. For me, I am saying, let's engage in those conversations. Why do you want a 600K wedding and you only have 50,000?
So 50.
Beyond, okay, a wedding is just a day. What about
the life you're going to live?
The life you're going to live, you know. And for me, I am saying, let's engage in those conversations, because unfortunately, sometimes some of the marriage failures that we are seeing are as a result of not counting the cost, basically, or not thinking through what am I getting into. Like, let me give, I know this is a very funny example, and
please share.
I must be forgiven for this.
We like funny. We like funny.
During the protests, I think I had, and that clip has been going on, of some two people who met.
In the maandamano?
Yes. And they got engaged, and now they are planning to get married. That is in less than 2 months. So I'm asking myself, okay, in less than 2 months, how long have you known each other to commit yourselves to such a big
decision for your life?
Exactly.
Because marriage is for until death do us part.
Yes. I mean, there are many issues in marriage. There's a lot of compatibility issues to think about. Some of them that I talk about in this book.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm saying it doesn't matter. These things, if you don't take time and think through them, they'll have an impact.
So do you think that the people who go for that kind of quick wedding, they just met, they decide I want to marry, and they do it as fast, do you think they have higher chances of a breakup or splitting, or they will have to work extremely hard to make it work while in it?
You know, and I don't want to discourage people. The truth is, there's a very high chance. There's a very high chance of breaking up. Because when you come together in marriage, you start realizing, oh, Kalechi is an extrovert, I'm an introvert. How do we handle that? What about cross-cultural marriages? You discover this culture, there's this that they demand, these ones, there's this they demand. How are you going to deal with that?
Right.
And also, I say to myself, people go to college to prepare.
Right.
If you want to be a doctor, you go for...
You have to go through certain amount of years for everything with its level of seriousness.
Yes. If you want to be a teacher, etc., etc. But why aren't we taking time to think through marriage? Because, when you get married, I mean, like, I look at my job description.
Right.
I am a mother. Yeah. That involves a lot.
You have a home to take care of.
A home. I'm an economist, a doctor,
you're doing
a
so
security
much.
person. I mean, I'm all sorts of things.
In one house. You haven't even gone to your job yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've not even gone to my job. I've not even gone to how do you deal with a man.
Yes.
They say... there's that book, women are from
Mars and men are from
Venus.
Yeah, or the other way around. Women are from Venus, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, why are we taking marriage so casually? And yet our professions...
We take them so seriously.
We take them so seriously. We invest. We talk about visions. I mean, an organizational vision, for example. We talk about strategic plans. We talk about all these things. Why are we, when it comes to marriage...
So easy.
When it comes to relationships, we just want to go
with the heart, because I feel I love.
No, and that's why I'm saying it's a poverty that is of the mind, of the heart, and of the behavior.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those are the elements now when we talk about this title, Don't Marry a Poor Man. It's not just about your money. In fact, the money could be the little part of it, because without the wisdom and focus and vision, you might not even be able to contain the money, even if you got it.
Exactly.
And most men will make a big amount of money and say, now I can marry, but they have no plan on how they're going to spend it, or even grow it and keep it so that it doesn't end immediately after you marry. Because now all of a sudden you have a household, you have more than one person to cater for, and the money doesn't go anywhere if you didn't plan for it. But I sometimes wonder about how you truly get to know a person, because obviously there's that investing in time that you're talking about that we need to do better. And I assume dependent on age. So somebody who's in their 20s may have a longer time to get to know someone. Someone like me who's almost 50 may know faster because of the experiences I've had. I can tell certain things faster. But when it comes to knowing somebody's true colors, there are men and women alike, in fact, mostly women, who like to test men to say, I want to know how he really, really feels about me. And they pull some very drastic moves, testing the man to know his true colors. Is there a gentler way? You don't have to lie to someone and say you love them, but you're lying to them so that you see if they really love you. Young women of today do that a lot. Is there a better way to know somebody's true colors?
Let me first of all say that, I think people have perfected the art of giving edited versions
of themselves.
I must acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people sometimes go to all these, as you call them, harsh, drastic measures.
Yeah.
So it's good to acknowledge that. However, I think there are what I would call time-tested truths or principles that can help. I know, again, you will question me on this one, but the whole issue of time,
Yeah.
You know, time reveals truth. When you meet and in 2 months' time you're telling me you're getting married, I will not really.
You'll have questions.
I have lots
now,
of questions.
Now you have an adult daughter and she comes and tells you, Mom, I met this guy in church. She's a nice guy. 2 months. We want to get married.
Yes.
You would have questions.
I'll have questions.
Yeah.
However, I'll tell her, okay, give yourself time, because even relationships develop naturally over time. Look at all relationships, whether in life or even in the animal or plant kingdom, whatever.
Yeah.
You plant something, it doesn't just.
In fact, some of them can take 5 years before they even show up. And it's still growing down there.
Growing.
Yeah.
So the whole issue of time.
Yeah.
But then I think there is what I would call the community around you.
Okay.
Marriage is, I would call, a private affair that has public implications.
I love that. Say it again. Marriage is a private affair
that has public implications.
Wow. So you can't joke.
You can't joke. It's private because, and I like the example, one of the examples that one of my favorite authors writes and says, he talks about a stimulus and response. Like if I hit you, that's a stimulus.
Right.
You can respond in different ways if I hit you.
Right.
But between the time I hit you and when you respond, there's a space. It is within that space that you can make a choice.
How am I going to respond?
Exactly.
Okay.
When it comes to marriage, marriage has many decisions inside there.
Right.
But I always say there is a space for choices. And that's why, even if it is a very private decision, you see, finally it is you, Kaleche, who will say, yes.
Yeah, I will marry you.
Exactly. However, there is a community around you.
Right.
And I hope a trusted community, because that's the other dilemma these days.
That there's no trusted communities around most of the people.
A trusted community, and in my book I call it a community of truth. They can help you evaluate. They can help you see blind spots. They can help you see maybe red flags. Yeah. They can be useful, in other words. So I think another way of knowing the true colors of a person is drawing on this community, of course, in a wise way. And then, of course, there is the whole issue of obey your thirst.
Obey your thirst. Please, explain.
Because I'm sure you have your principles.
Yeah.
You have your values in life.
Yes.
That's you have your true north.
Yes.
That's what I call.
Yes. Whatever you've decided are my negotiables, non-negotiables.
Exactly.
This is where the line is drawn for Kaleche.
Yes. So as you listen to the community, then remember, it's finally you. After you've taken your time, after you've listened to people and done your own intelligence, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I think the other thing that is happening these days, if I look at what my mother used to tell me about how they used to get married and all that, and then I look at my generation, and then I look at
your daughter's generation.
Yes, I think the aspect of researching into who is this person has really greatly diminished.
It's gone. In fact, they say you put us in schools where we are with everybody. So, we're used to just being around all sorts of people. So we are okay. We don't want tribalism. We are not affected by your cultural backgrounds. That's what they say.
Yes, but I think even if you're there, even in that bubble, in that circle, there's still room to discover who is this person? Who is this person? Because that research, for me, that intelligence, I'm also calling it intelligence.
Yeah, I like that word. I really like it.
It is important because you don't want surprises.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yes. Remember, you want to know their true colors or not. And that's why, for example, how does someone respond to pressure?
So do you take them through a pressure example,
No,
or do
no,
you?
no, no, no,
What do
no,
you do? Because that's what I'm telling you. These young girls will be like, "Aha, pressure! I'm going to create a pressure situation to see how he responds."
No, you see, like for example, like these protests
Yeah.
that we are going through.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen all sorts of reactions.
Yeah.
Look at how people are behaving. I have seen people respond very positively. Okay, they are protesting, but even the words they say are constructive words.
Yeah.
In the same protests, I've heard obscene words. I mean, when someone is put under pressure,
they will expose the truth.
They will expose the truth. So sometimes it's just, I mean, even in normal life, how
also
are they
being
behaving?
observant is the
Exactly.
key. Being observant.
It is so important. How are they behaving? How do they treat their workmates? How do they treat children? I work with children, so I like the way people treat children. Sometimes it's like, oh, go.
Then you can tell.
You can tell.
Even with how they treat, let's say, the staff.
Exactly.
You go to a restaurant, how is the person talking to the waiter will tell you the way they respond, and if they're trying to show their power or weight around or disregard this person, or if they're kind, can tell you. But you know, a lot of us, we ignore because he's a nice guy, he's handsome, he looks, you know, he has a degree, he's a doctor, but even them, they can be bad. I mean, you know, the degree is not the person.
The person,
So
exactly.
this is what Don't Be Poor is about.
Yes.
It's more than the money.
It is actually, money is important. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
However, let's dig deeper.
Beyond.
Because you will marry a person. During COVID, many people lost businesses, for example.
Yeah.
You are a millionaire today and it's gone just like that.
Yeah.
How do you deal with
that situation when you're in it?
When you are in it.
Actually, a lot of marriages broke up during that period.
Yes, it's because the foundation, okay, I'm not saying this is the only reason, but sometimes it could be one of the reasons. The foundation was not built on principles. Principles of, okay, I'm your friend Kaleche, I'm committed to you.
Yeah.
Through the dark paths, through the nice paths, I'm committed to you as my friend.
Yeah.
So if a marriage, for example, is not built on like love, for example, friendship, it's just built on, oh, she's beautiful, she's whatever, it will crumble.
Because also that ends.
It ends. Money ends, beauty ends, all these things end.
I love the fact that you've brought in the element of community to us. You've brought in the element of us looking for certain things in there. But you know, in your marriage, when you were getting married, and I know you've said that you've learned this along the way, and that's why this book, you've written it as a conversation to your children, your daughter specifically. As you observe the way young people are out there and dating today, would you say that there's something that they need to change the way they do? There's a specific element they are missing. Is it not looking for the vision? Is it not looking at the focus, the time, or patience? They want love quickly now. What is it that they're missing?
Wow. I would say, first of all, that the pressure from outside is making young people crave.
Okay.
And for example, the financial pressures.
Yeah.
It's like this kind of a description for the right guy should look like this.
Yes. Today there is a lot of that.
Yes.
He must dress this way. He must drive. He must live in this place. He must have X amount in his bank account.
Yes.
A lot of pressure.
So there's a lot of pressure. And you see, the world has even become a village. So we are saying someone is not even influenced by Kenya.
Just Kenya.
They're
it's what they're
influenced
seeing
by,
outside.
yes.
Yeah.
These days you hear of destination weddings. As we just got married in the village, full stop. So, so the pressure is a lot. And I think I don't know whether this is the correct way of phrasing it, but what is missing out is a teachable spirit.
That is so powerful. A teachable spirit. Willing and open to learn
Exactly
what has been done. Because sometimes they look at, mommy, you know, your time ended, so you don't know anything.
Exactly.
You don't know anything. You guys, this book, it has many things. Yes, it has a lot. So teachable spirit. Tell us what that should be like today for a person listening.
Like, for example, these days, unlike our days, I'm in that generation, before my generation, my mother's generation, I think culturally people were guided in relationships, leading to marriage. There was a lot of kind of guidance. My generation came and it's like our parents were not very open with information. Neither was the church. And I'm talking here as a Christian. The church was very silent. Right now, I think there is information. Like, for example, churches hold premarital counseling and all that. In schools, there are topics on dating, relationship, and all that. So for me, I think people should take seriously these avenues for learning. And not come with, I know it. Because, I think the other pressure with this generation, I can get all information at the click of a Google, whatever, as in...
I now know. Yes. I can read it in a magazine and think that I know.
But now, a teachable spirit says, okay, let me just sit and listen.
Right. So more listening.
Yeah. Let me sit and listen. But let me evaluate what I'm hearing. And let me see, I find in life there are two things that are very helpful: reflection and action. So after I listen to whatever teaching, and there's teaching on all sorts of things, vision, character, focus, and all these things. There's a lot of good teaching out there. There's a lot of advice. There's a lot of people willing to walk alongside the young people. But I think in response to this gap, let people listen and let people reflect, but now take the appropriate action. Like, for example, if someone helps you realize there are some red flags about an issue, be willing to listen and see, how do I deal with it? Should I call off the relationship?
Or do I investigate more?
That's reflection and action. And for me, that will really help going forward. Exactly.
Wow. I mean, we could go on in this conversation forever. I want you to just maybe tell us where we can get the book, because I know there's somebody out there who's saying, I want to read the book. And I love the fact that, like I said, it's written as a conversation. I enjoyed it because it's a conversation and something you would wish. For me, as I read it as an older person, I'm like, I really wish my mom shared such things with me, but our generation of parents didn't. So where can we find the book?
The book is available in some selected Naivas supermarkets.
Okay.
It's also available on Amazon Kindle.
Okay.
I can also give a number where they can call and it can be delivered. 07.
Yeah, you can give the number here.
0721 52 60 73.
Again?
0721 52 60 73.
Awesome. So they can order the book from there.
Yes.
How much is the book?
The book is 800.
It's 800 bob only, and you
Only.
get to understand the choices you have out there. So Don't Marry a Poor Man is a book about choices. It's about making you see that there's more than just the beauty that meets the eye, which is exciting and all. But after that, there's life. And then you want to live a happy married life. Christine, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing what this book is about. And I'm hoping that people grow from hearing this conversation. Guys, thank you so much for watching and being a part of this conversation. Remember, if you want to be part of a conversation, you can email us conversationswithkaleche@gmail.com. You can write your comments down there, and I'm always happy to get back to you. I want to thank my styling people, the guys who got me this amazing dress that is Spicy Outfits 254, my makeup by Delishful Service. Thank you so much. We would love to continue the conversation, but I know, we've got to take a break, and then we will have more great conversations coming up for you. As always, make sure that you are subscribed and listening and watching on YouTube and on Spotify. See ya.